Stop using church intimidation, control and manipulation. Jezebel and all them spirits fall back, not trying to hear it. Go with Jesus, walk in peace. On your pew can sit that beast that we're fighting in the world. I'm that JC Supergirl, Jesus Christ, belt of truth, arm of God, I'm slaying you. Power of the word, two-edged sword. MC Heaven rocks for her Lord. Thought they crept in unaware, didn't see the gatekeeper standing right there. Not getting down with your tactics, undoctrinal practice.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Happy and peaceful Sabbath today. My name is Crystal Jones, and I welcome you to the Crystal Jones Show. I greet you in the name of Ahaya, Bahashem Yeshaya, Wawarak Kodash. This is the show that's all about life's balance, and I'm glad to see you tuning in today. Let me tell you when you can check out the show. You can check out the show every Saturday, all right, from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. on bronxnet.org, channel 951 and 2137 on your cable channels at the Inspire channel. Also, check me out on my YouTube channel, all right, and my Facebook, the Crystal Jones TV show. Subscribe to my YouTube page so we can grow the page, like my videos, and share them with everybody so that they can get, what's going on the show. All right. Also, you can check me out on Instagram with the daily Bible quotes that are inspirational and encouraging to people. And also you can check me out on HebrewConnect.tv. All right. Okay. So let's go to the scripture of the day. We again are going to cover Ephesians, the 6th chapter, the 10th through the 18th verse, because we're going through a very troubled time here in the world over. We're going through so many troubles, wars, rumors of wars, and so much is happening as Jesus Christ had prophesied. He had told us that of these times, that this would be the sign of his coming, the wars and the rumors of wars and the ungodliness that would be in the earth. So let's go to Ephesians, the 6th chapter. This is what we're going to need to withstand in these evil days. Ephesians, the 6th chapter and the 10th verse says, "Finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord." If you're not strong in the Lord, you don't know the Lord, you need to start reading your Bible. You need to start praying. You need to start fasting. You need to start finding out who the Lord is, because this is how you're going to make it in these last days. Be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might. So that means that you're going to need a certain type of power to stand in this day and time. The might of the Lord is what's going to keep us. Put on the whole armor of God. There's an armor, just like you have with the armies of the different nations in the world. But this is going to be a spiritual battle. We're not just wrestling against flesh and blood. All right. Put on the whole armor of God that you may be able to stand against the wiles of who? The devil, our adversary, right? For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against what? Principalities. Okay, remember, the adversary is the prince of the power of the air, the one that works in the children of disobedience. That's the spirit of Satan, the devil, right? So we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world. We have world rulers that are ruling in darkness. They have dark things that they're doing here on the earth, things that they're making, just everything is about lawlessness now. It's about doing whatever you want. It's about changing, how God set things up. And it's about people just doing whatever they want to do, right? So we're fighting against those powers, against the rulers of darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. There are some places where they're pretending to be spiritual, but they're not spiritual. They're spiritual in the sense of darkness, but they're not spiritual in the ways of the Lord, right? Wherefore take unto you the whole armor of God, that ye may be able to withstand in the evil day, and having done all to stand. Stand for having your loins girt about with truth. Your loins, right? Your inner beings. You have to walk in truth. Okay, you can't be going around with these lies that they done told us for so many years, that we were just these no good, low down people, and all kind of crazy stuff, all kind of lies that are out there, period. Lies about who God is and all kind of stuff, right? So stand therefore, having your loins girt about with the truth of the gospel of Christ. And Christ was the fulfilling of the law. So we have to go back to the law, statutes, and commandments of the law. And having on the breastplate of righteousness, we have to be righteous people, right? And your feet shod with the preparation of the gospel of peace. The gospel of Christ is a gospel of peace. All right. Above all, taking the shield of faith. You have to have faith. You have to believe that God is, and that he's a rewarder of them that diligently seek him. Meaning, in these last days, you're going to have to diligently seek after the Lord, diligently pray, diligently fast, diligently read your Bible, diligently practice the word of the Lord, right? Above all, taking the shield of faith, wherewith ye shall be able to quench all the fiery darts of the wicked. Everywhere you go, when you're on the train, you're on the bus, you have all people doing all kind of things, setting off smoke bombs, shooting people, walking up to people and stabbing them, all kind of crazy stuff, right? So we got to be prepared, because these people are being led of darkness. They're not being led by God. So we have to be spiritually able to fight against these powers that are roaming the earth today. All right. And take the helmet of salvation. All right. You have to take on the mindset of salvation. You have to come to the Lord's willing to accept his salvation, right? The sword of the Spirit, the Holy Spirit. You have to have the Holy Spirit within you, which is the word of God. Okay, the word of God was made flesh in the form of Jesus Christ, right? So the Bible talks about the baptism and the receiving of the Holy Spirit, right? Praying always with all prayer and supplication. You're supplicating the Lord for him to intervene and intercede, for him to bring peace over your house, for him to deliver your family, that they will start following the Lord, that your people that your co-workers and stuff like that, that they will come to the knowledge of the Lord and serve him in spirit and in truth, watching thereunto with all perseverance. You have to continue to persevere, and supplication for who? All saints. All right. So this is what we have to do, because this is a dark and an evil time, and we need the help of the Lord. Speaking of the dark and evil times, we're next going to go to today's news, which was the arrest of an 8-year-old. Now, I'm going to give my comment on it. This whole thing was ridiculous. You have 3 white cops submerging on an 8-year-old who stole a bag of chips. Now, I doubt that would have happened in a white neighborhood. No, they wouldn't have, they had this little boy with his hands behind his back. He's screaming because he's traumatized, right? So this is where I say we need to have our own communities, because this little boy probably is hungry. See, white cops are not going to understand that, all right? Because they just figure we're some wild beasts out the forest, And so they decide to, put this little boy's hand. In other words, they had him basically under arrest. He doesn't know his rights or anything like that. He lives in a poverty-stricken neighborhood, right? Now, also, the owner of the store, why in the world can't he have some kind of rapport with the neighborhood, so that he could talk to his family and say, listen, your son has been stealing, from the store. Can we work something out? Something. Because if you're not able to deal with that, then you should not be owning property or stores or anything in that area, because you're profiting off of poor people, but you don't care about them. You don't understand what they're going through. These people probably, they ran out of their food stamps or whatever. And so this little boy is probably hungry. All right. If you're not going to help the situation, you're a part of the problem. And this is what I'm saying. We need to get our own neighborhoods so that we can help our people. We understand what our people are going through. So why would they send 3 white cops to a poor Black neighborhood, right? And this whole thing is just ridiculous. It really just irked my nerves to even see this. Like, who do they think they are to just, let somebody do that to their kid, right? They wouldn't have liked it, all right? It's just ridiculous. Like, if you can't handle it, get out. If you can't stand the heat, get out the kitchen, and this is why we have so many problems with these cops, because they cannot comprehend. They don't have the common sense to deal with issues. Yes, there are issues because we live in a country where the wealth is not distributed evenly amongst people. It's meant for those who are of what white people feel a lower class to live in poverty. All right. They don't want to see us, even those of us who are not living in poverty. We're always, it's always going to be our people at the bottom in Esau's kingdom. And this is why his kingdom is coming down, because it's not a godly kingdom. I don't care what they said about when they founded the country. All of that stuff is lies. Those people that founded the country, they went into all kind of witchcraft and crazy stuff. All right. And it's just coming out now that this is really what these people are about. Okay, so let's go to the video.
What are y'all doing? What is y'all doing?
Guess. Take a guess what I'm doing.
Hey, you're like a baby to me. Why you?
Guess what I'm doing.
I don't know what you doing. I just see you snatching him off the.
No.
So what's going on then?
You're stealing stuff. If he breaks into your house to steal something.
Nah, man. What is that? A bag of chips? So y'all treat me like a whole cold-blooded killer?
Keep walking, dude. You don't even know what you're
Keep walking. I know what I just came up and see. I know I just came up and see.
Okay, what did you see?
I see y'all snatching him off the back like a grown-ass man. Ain't he saying it wasn't him? What is y'all doing?
Crazy. How old is he?
What is y'all talking about, man?
That's against the law.
What is y'all doing?
You cannot put that.
What is y'all doing? Take the chips. If he stole some chips, I'll pay for him. I'll pay for him. You don't even know where he lives.
Higher rank, you.
Y'all just throwing him in the car.
That's what they do. They come here.
What is y'all doing? Leave him alone.
No camera. That's all we can do.
He a kid.
This interaction by the Syracuse police lacked humanity, decency, and common respect for a child, okay? I got more information and I want to give you the details as to what happened here, okay? But I do want to point out, when the officer saw a concerned citizen, that officer could have easily told the concerned citizen, okay, you're right. Can you talk to him? He needs a mentor. He needs someone to talk to. You're right. Let's have a conversation with this kid. I don't want to take him to jail. Here's what we can do, okay? But instead, he wanted the concerned community citizen to become an enemy of the kid. He wanted the kid to be a villain. So he then creates a scenario that's not part of the record. What if he breaks into your home and steals your stuff? That's not part of the narrative here. We have no information that this kid broke into somebody's home or committed some kind of home invasion and robbery. There's nothing on the record to suggest this. So the cop comes up with an extreme fictional narrative in order to turn a concerned community citizen against a Black youth. Don't miss that, because it works for some people sometimes, okay? All right, the Syracuse police released a statement about this, and here's what they said, and I quote, "We are aware of a video being shared on social media involving several of our officers and juveniles accused of stealing from a store on the city's north side. Stealing from a store. The incident, including the officers' actions and body-worn cameras, are being reviewed. There is some misinformation involving this case. The juvenile suspected of larceny, stealing, was not placed in handcuffs. He was placed in the rear of a patrol unit where he was directly brought home. Officers met with the child's father and no charges were filed. Okay, let me give you some more background to this, all right? Children, this is a law in that state. Children under the age of 12 no longer face arrest and prosecution for virtually all crimes in New York under a bill signed into law, okay? So this is by statute. They cannot take this youthful offender by statute, this juvenile by statute. There's more. Here's the reason why that new law exists. Across the state, at least 800 children under the age of 12 were arrested by police in 2019. That's according to the Legal Aid Society. In New York City, 90% were Black or Hispanic, okay? Bronx State Senator Jamal Bailey, who sponsored the legislation, wrote, and I quote, "When you criminalize young folks at an earlier age, they're subjected to much more trauma. And our children, as resilient as they are, as we've seen throughout this COVID pandemic, they can only bear so much." You are absolutely correct, Senator. So here's what we have. We have a concerned community leader, a concerned citizen. We have an officer who's being completely inappropriate, in my opinion, in how he's handling this situation. So while they may make a distinction about the child not being placed in handcuffs, they do have the child's hands behind his back, and they do detain the child inside of an adult police vehicle. Now, I'm not sure if, because of the citizens who recorded and their objection, that may be the reason why this story has an ending that includes taking the child home, okay? All right, AB, thoughts on this case?
Yeah, so I'm a boy mom, right? I have a 4-year-old son. Don't play with my kid like that, ever, over a bag of chips. Let's start there. This is the issue. So one, I get the New York law, right? That children under the age of 12 cannot be arrested. However, an arrest and a detainment are two different things. And to detain someone, right? Which means all the police have to do is by use of show of force or authority, make that person feel like they are not free to leave. That is just as traumatizing as being actually arrested, meaning you have formal charges against you. So let's start there. Second, we gotta do more than just be watching. We gotta move past this, like just the watching and recording, because this is why we keep having these issues. And the last thing I'm gonna say about that is that this is not a criminal issue, it's a social issue. He was hungry.
Yep.
That's it.
Yeah, and that has to be highlighted, okay? The kid, if this is true, the kid is stealing food. That means he doesn't have the money to buy it, whatever the food is. Some people may say, well, Doc, he was stealing chips. Well, if a kid is hungry, I have a child. My child is 16 years old now. My child thought when she was a baby, that chips, that was food, okay? I had to teach her that's not real food, right? So that cannot be dismissed in this conversation, that you literally have a kid who's stealing food, and this theft ends up with, or potential or alleged theft ends up with the police officer not only detaining, but also trying to turn the community against the young person. And that's the part, that's the part that gets me. And this is why we need real community police officers, real cops that care so deeply about the community that their entire response would have been so different. Completely different. You see concerned community citizens there. You see individuals who are taking an interest in the child. Use it. Utilize that moment. Capitalize on that moment. Be a public servant as you actually are sworn to be. We think we swear in police. Cops think they are cops. That's not how it's supposed to be. You are part of a public safety matrix. You're supposed to be there for the enhancement of public safety. We have somehow allowed the conversation, my dear sister, to de-evolve into a conversation about policing rather than a conversation about public safety. And we got to get that narrative back. What are your thoughts on it?
We just give the police too much credit, and we have them doing jobs that police officers should not be doing. We need more social workers. We need more social people who can deal with these type of issues, right? And we have to also stop making our young Black children be adults. They're not adults, they're children, and we should treat them as such. And I don't think if the little boy had less melanin in his skin, he would have been traumatized in such a way to feel like a criminal because he was hungry. He was hungry. And another issue is that when you exaggerate facts like this is how we lead to wrongful convictions, right? This is why police continue to feel like they can do that, because they are not checked when they go above the line. Maybe he did still, maybe he didn't. These are allegedly, right? All of this is alleged. But what we have to do is start stopping police in their tracks and holding them accountable from the time that they interact with other citizens. You work for us, we are taxpayers. So your job is to protect us, not to disrespect us. So again, I agree with you that we do need more police officers who actually who care about the community, right? Not just about their badge and their job, but they care about the community and doing the right thing and doing their job better than anybody else.
Yeah.
That's all we need.
And the pushback, when we put this out on Facebook Watch and YouTube, the pushback is going to be from some, well, being a police officer is a dangerous job and they have to be this. No. It's not the most dangerous job. The most dangerous job in America is actually cutting trees by way of fatality and injury. Cutting trees, being a tree cutter is much more dangerous. Driving a taxi is more dangerous than being a cop per capita. Being a store clerk, being a store owner or a person that works at a store, at a convenience store, 7-Eleven, that actually is more dangerous based on fatality and injury than being a cop. Here's my point. We don't change the rules and change the laws for those who work in convenience stores. We don't change the rules or change the laws for those that cut trees, even though those jobs are actually statistically more dangerous than policing. So my point is, you don't change the policy and the culture and the laws for one industry just because that industry is dangerous or potentially dangerous because you haven't done it for any other industry that's even more dangerous.
Hi, back again now. This is what like I was saying, that was, just totally ridiculous that they had to throw this little boy in the back of that car. Thank God that man was there. Sounds like there were two of them there and they were, trying to de-escalate the situation. They're not even cops. So thankfully they were there and they were saying, well, we'll pay for the potato chips, and they would still saying, well, he might bust in your house and steal from you. Like, this is what they continue to do, is demonize our people, our children, everything that we do. Now, this man, I'm pretty sure this cop, he would, if you did that to his kid, he would have a fit, all right? But it goes to show you, this is the attitude still in America against Blacks. When one of their own has shot up and killed the people over there, and I believe it was Georgia. They went, the guy this guy was like 19 or 20 years old, I think. He went there and shot the Black people that were in Bible study. And he was the one, if I'm not mistaken, they took him to Burger King on the way to jail after killing up like about 8 people in the Bible study. But for this little boy, for a bag of potato chips, because little boy was probably hungry, they were willing to throw him in the back of a patrol car. Imagine what would have happened to that little boy if those men weren't there to step in and say, no, we'll walk him home. We'll take care of him. We'll pay for the potato chips over potato chips. This is the hatred that these supremacists have against us. And it's sad that a lot of them are on, these that work in these entities. They're not capable of just being, decent human beings. So this is the problem within the community. Nobody wants that stop and frisk to come back, because who's going to take advantage of that? Definitely that group of people. All right. So I hope the little boy's all right. I know he's probably traumatized, and it's a shame. It really is a shame. They need to do something about this, but this is, something that we have to deal with. That's why I say we have to get stronger in our own communities, school our own children and things of the such, because we see that this little boy probably would have been thrown in jail. And I believe with 3 of them ascending upon him like that, they might have killed that little boy. I'm sorry. I think they would have killed him. I really do. They would have escalated it to that, because they're not capable of a bird's eye. Don't seem like they have much common sense. All right. So now we're going to move on to our missing youth. Okay. I'm trying to pull up the picture that I have of the missing youth. The first one we have is Aaliyah Jennings. I'm trying to get her she's been missing. Aaliyah's been missing since April 4th of this year. So she's been missing since this month of April of this year. All right. She is missing from Poughkeepsie, New York. She's 16 years old. She's a Black female. She has brown hair, brown eyes. Her height is 5'3". She weighs about 183 pounds. All right. She was last seen April 4th of 2022. So don't hesitate, please. If you've seen her, you know anything about her disappearance, report it to missingkids.org and also to the local police department. Okay. The next one that we have is Ziona McCray. All right, pull up her information. She's been missing since April the 9th of this month of April. All right, she's been missing. She is missing from Yonkers, New York. She's 18 years old. She's a Black female. Her hair color is brown. Her eye color is brown. Her height is 5'6". She weighs about 150 pounds. All right, so if you know anything about Ziona McCray and her disappearance, please, 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 y'all, get in touch with missingkids.org and the local police. All right. A lot of these children they're finding are missing because they're being sex trafficked, drug trafficked, organ harvesting is a part of, these missing people now. So just this week they found 2 sisters that in a hotel somewhere with some crazy man had a pit bull, and him and a woman were keeping those kids hostage. So we have a lot of crazies out there. All right. So when you see things, like they say in New York, if you see something, you say something. All right. So maybe we can avoid our children and people, period, because they don't just kidnap kids, they kidnap adults too. All right. So, okay. So we're going to move on to the next thing, which is health and wellness. All right. For your health and wellness at night, when you get home from work, maybe take a nice, long, hot bath. Just, relax in your tub, maybe put some bath oil in there and just sit there and relax. You can meditate, you can pray, because it's really stressful nowadays, the things that are going on, here and abroad, so many different things. So it's time when you get home from work, just relax, chill, get in a hot bathtub and relax and just meditate, pray, read. You know what I mean? Focus, get yourself together. All right. For our business tips, I want to say this: admit your mistakes and learn from them. Sometimes you may have made some mistakes, not knowingly. You may not have known that it was a mistake. You may, or maybe you do, but just when you find out that maybe you should have handled things differently, admit it, and if you have to say you're sorry or whatever, you know, if you can make it right, make it right. But most of all, learn from it so that you don't keep repeating the same thing over and over again. All right. Okay, so we're going to get to our lesson. We're going to say our credo. Shema Yasharala, Ahaya Alahaya Nawa, Ahaya Echad. Hear, O Israel, the Lord is our God. The Lord our God, he is one. So we're going to continue with our the two brothers, Esau and Jacob, all right, that at it, you know, again. What we're going to be going through is chapters 41 through 57. I won't make all of them today, as you know, but this is where I'll be coming from, basically, okay? So in Joshua 41, we are now where Jacob has, you know, left off from where he met Esau at, you know, down the road and whatnot. And Esau at first was, you know, trying to cause a problem. He, you know, still wants to, he basically wants to kill Jacob. That's what it really is. But, you know, the angels met Esau in different groups to tell him, listen, leave Jacob alone, right? So now we're going further on where Jacob, you know, distanced himself after he, you know, made peace with him, so to speak. And he's staying, you know, where his father Isaac is, because it's you know, the time where Isaac is going to die and whatnot. So Jacob wants to be with his dad, you know, and his mom and his dad before they pass. So in Joshua, the 41st chapter, we see what's going on now. And at the revolution of the year, the sons of Jacob journeyed from Shechem, and they came to Hebron to their father Isaac, and they dwelt there, but their flocks and herds they fed daily in Shechem. For there was there in those days good and fat pasture, and Jacob and his sons and all their household dwelt in the valley of Hebron. And it was in those days, in that year, being the 106th year of the life of Jacob. So Jacob was 106 years old at that time. In the 10th year of Jacob's coming from Padanaram, that Leah, the wife of Jacob, had died. So Leah is, Rachel's sister. And remember, Jacob was tricked into marrying her first, even though he really wanted Rachel. Now, Leah is the one that some of us come from, Judah. Judah was her son. So a lot of us who are Black Americans, we come from the tribe of Judah. So Judah, Reuben, Levi, and I believe Simeon are her four sons, her natural born sons. So, so she died. She was 51 years old when she died in Hebron. And Jacob and his sons buried her in the cave of the field of Machpelah, which is in Hebron, which Abraham had bought from the children of Heth for the possession of a burial place. So in those days, you had your burial place and all of that kind of stuff. So Leah, our foremother, she had died. So the sons of Jacob dwelt with their father in the valley of Hebron, and all the inhabitants of the land knew their strength, and their fame went throughout the land. And Joseph, the son of Jacob, and his brother Benjamin, they were the sons of Rachel, right? The one who Jacob really loved. The wife of Jacob were yet young in those days and did not go out with their brethren during their battles in all the cities of the Amorites. So as you see, this caused a rift in the family because Joseph and Benjamin were treated, different from the other brothers. So, there was jealousy there and whatnot. And of course, that made Joseph and Benjamin feel they were better than the other brothers because there's 12 of them. So Joseph and Benjamin felt, privileged, right? So, and when Joseph saw the strength of his brethren, and their greatness, he praised them and extolled them, but he ranked himself greater than them. See, so Joseph had a lifted up spirit. So it could be why he had to go through the things he had to go through, so that God could humble him, because he would be the one to help when our people were in the famine. When the famine came to the land of Egypt, it was over the whole earth. And Joseph was the one that was sold into slavery by his brothers because they couldn't stand him. They couldn't stand his arrogant attitude, right? So, but he ranked himself greater than them and extolled himself above them. And Jacob, his father, also loved him more than any of his sons. So Jacob was Joseph was the favorite of Jacob, right? So his brothers couldn't stand that, right? So he loved him more than any of his sons, and he showed it, for he was the son of his old age. And through his love toward him, he made him a coat of many colors. So how's that if you're a father and you have 12 sons, but you only make a coat of many colors for one? And a lot of parents do that. They sadly treat one child better than the other children, which is not a good idea. Even if you have a favorite one, which I'm pretty sure all parents pretty much do, there's going to be a child that you gel more with than the other children. But you should try not to show it, really. That's bad, right? So as you see, the patriarchs, they have faults too, right? So and when Joseph saw that his father loved him more than his brethren, he continued to exalt himself above his brethren, and he brought unto his father evil reports concerning them. So he was tattletale. Joseph was a tattletale, right? And the sons of Jacob, seeing the whole of Joseph's conduct toward them, and that their father loved him more than any of them, they hated him and could not speak peaceably to him all the days. So they couldn't stand Joseph. They couldn't stand him because he thought he was better and the father treated him better, right? So Joseph was 17 years old, and he was still magnifying himself above his brethren and thought of raising himself above them. This is why I like the apocryphal books, because they tell you in detail what's in the Pentateuch, in the 66 books. It tells you the background of what was really going on. So this is the book of Jasher, right? And it's telling you in depth Joseph's character. He was lifted up, right? So at that time, he dreamed a dream, and he came unto his brothers, this is Joseph, and told them his dreams. And he said to them, I dreamed a dream, and behold, we were all binding sheaves in the field. And my sheaf rose and placed itself upon the ground, and your sheaf surrounded it and bowed down to it. So Joseph is not understanding God is getting ready to use him to save many people alive, but he's in himself. So he's saying, yeah, y'all bow down to me, which eventually he would become the Prince of Egypt, right? So he was the one that saved Egypt and all the earth at that time from the famine. He was the one that gathered the food, the corn and the grain and all of that kind of stuff. But at this particular time, when he was 17, he was a show-off. He had a bad attitude, right? But nevertheless, he was chosen, right? So it goes to show you, even chosen people, we're people. We do dumb things, right? And his brethren answered him and said unto him, what meaneth this dream that thou didst dream? Dost thou imagine in thy heart to reign or rule over us? Because at the time, they don't understand that the dream is given to him as a prophecy that this would come to pass. And he still came and told the thing to his father Jacob. This is Joseph came and told Jacob. And Jacob kissed Joseph when he heard these words from his mouth. And Jacob blessed Joseph. So Jacob is still blinded by his favorite child. Oh, my favorite child. Oh. And when the sons of Jacob saw that their father had blessed Joseph and had kissed him, and that he loved him exceedingly, they became jealous of him and hated him the more. So the father, Jacob, is making it worse, right? And after this, Joseph dreamed another dream and related the dream to his father in the presence this time of his brethren. And Joseph said unto his father and brethren, behold, I have again dreamed a dream, and behold, the sun and the moon and the 11 stars bow down to me. And his father heard the words of Joseph, and and his dream. And seeing that his brethren hated Joseph on account of this matter, Jacob therefore rebuked Joseph. So Jacob is seeing that is getting to his other sons. So he starts rebuking Joseph over it before his brethren on account of this thing, saying, what meaneth this dream which thou hast dreamed, and this magnifying thyself before thy brethren who are older than you are? Like, so he's trying to play it off like, what do you mean by this? Your brothers are older than you, and you magnifying yourself through this dream. Dost thou imagine in thy heart that I and thy mother and thy 11 brethren will come and bow down to thee, that thou speakest these things? Like, you think that we're all gonna bow down to you? Because now Jacob is realizing that Joseph even feels somewhat exalted over his father, over Jacob, right? And his brethren were jealous of him on account of his words and dreams, and they continue to hate him. And Jacob reserved the dreams in his heart, because Jacob knew there must be a spiritual meaning to it, because these are God-fearing people, and the Lord does give them dreams, right? And the sons of Jacob went one day to feed their father's flock in Shechem, for they were still herdsmen in those days. So they had, flock and sheep and all of that. And whilst the sons of Jacob were that day feeding in Shechem, they delayed, and the time of gathering in the cattle was past, and they had not arrived. So they were, feeding the flock, but, they hadn't come back. So their fathers wonder, where are my sons? They were supposed to go. They were supposed to be home by now. And Jacob saw that his sons were delayed in Shechem. And Jacob said within himself, peradventure the people of Shechem have risen up to fight against them. Therefore they have delayed coming this day. So he's getting worried that maybe the people of the land have done something to his children, to his sons. And Jacob called Joseph, the little tattletale, his son, and commanded him, saying, behold, thy brethren are feeding in Shechem this day, and behold, they have not yet come back. Go now, therefore, and see where they are, and bring me word back concerning the welfare of thy brethren and the welfare of the flock. So Jacob loves his sons, but he's just crazy over Jacob. So he's just crazy over Joseph. So now he's sending Joseph to find out, where are your brothers? Did something happen to them? And Jacob sent his son Joseph to the valley of Hebron. And Joseph came for his brothers to Shechem and could not find them. And Joseph went about the field which was near Shechem to see where his brothers had turned. And he missed his road in the wilderness and knew not which way he should go. And the angel of the Lord found him wandering in the road toward the field. And Joseph said unto the angel of the Lord, I seek my brethren. Hast thou not heard where they are feeding? And the angel of the Lord said unto Joseph, I saw thy brethren feeding here, and I heard them saying they would go to feed in Dothan. And Joseph hearkened to the voice of the angel of the Lord, and he went to his brethren in Dothan, and he found them in Dothan feeding the flock. And Joseph advanced to his brothers, and before he had come nigh unto them, they had resolved to slay him. So now the brothers are tired of him. So they like, we gonna get rid of this little dreamer. He getting out of here today. We tired of him acting like he's so special. And so we're tired of him, right? So Simeon, one of the brothers, right, said to the rest of the brothers, behold, the man of dreams is coming unto us this day. And now therefore come and let us kill him and cast him in one of the pits that are in the wilderness. And when his father shall seek him from us, we will say an evil beast has devoured him. So they set in their hearts to get rid of him, like really kill him, right? And Reuben heard the words of his brethren concerning Joseph, and he said unto them, you should not do this thing. So Reuben was the firstborn. He was like, no, that's wrong. You shouldn't do this. For how can we look up to our father Jacob? Cast him into this pit to die there. So he still really wants to kill him. So he said, just cast him into the pit so he'll just die there. But stretch not forth a hand upon him to spill his blood. And Reuben said this in order to deliver him from their hand, to bring him back to his father. So Reuben had it in him to pretend like, yeah, we're going to kill him. But then he was going to come back and get him out of the pit. But as we're going to see, it didn't quite turn out like that. And when Joseph came to his brethren, he sat before them, and they rose upon him and seized him and smote him to the earth. So they hit him and stripped the coat of many colors which he had on. And they took him and cast him into a pit. And in the pit there was no water. There's no water in there. So he's in a pit, but serpents and scorpions. Wow. And Joseph was afraid of the serpents and scorpions that were in the pit. And Joseph cried out with a loud voice, and the Lord hid the serpents and the scorpions in the sides of the pit, and they did no harm unto Joseph. So see, the Lord will give his angels charge over you. You could be around lions or whatever, and they, like Daniel in the lion's den, the lions couldn't get to Daniel because the Lord had shut their mouth. So this is what he did for Joseph when he was thrown in the pit. He made it so that the serpents couldn't do anything to Joseph. And Joseph called out from the pit to his brethren and said unto them, what have I done unto you, and in what have I sinned? Why do you not fear the Lord concerning me? Am I not of your bones and flesh? And is not Jacob your father my father? Why do you do this thing unto me this day? And how will you be able to look up to our father Jacob? So Joseph is pleading, like, what did I do to you? We're the same blood. We're brothers. Jacob is our father. How are you going to look our father in the face? And he continued to cry out and call unto his brethren from the pit. And he said, O Judah, Simeon, and Levi, my brethren, lift me up from the place of darkness in which you have placed me, and come this day to have compassion on me, ye children of the Lord, and sons of Jacob, my father. And if I have sinned unto you, are you not the sons of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob? If they saw an orphan, they had compassion over him, or one that was hungry, they gave him bread to eat, or one that was thirsty, they gave him water to drink, or one that was naked, they covered him with garments. He's trying to remind them of their lineage. Their lineage is a lineage of people that have compassion on people. They're not out trying to kill folks, okay? So he's reminding them, this is what our father and our forefathers do. They help people. They don't go around killing people. What are y'all doing, right? Okay, so now I'm at the 31st verse of the 41st chapter and the 31st verse of Jasher. And how then will you withhold your pity from your brother? For I am of your flesh and bones. And if I have sinned unto you, surely you will do this on account of my father. And Joseph spoke these words from the pit. So if I've sinned against you on the account of our father, help me. And his brethren could not listen to him, nor incline their ears to the words of Joseph. And Joseph was crying and weeping in the pit. Wow. My heart goes out to him. He's 17 years old. Come on, guys. And Joseph said, oh, that my father knew this day the act which my brothers have done unto me, and the words which they have this day spoken unto me. And all his brethren heard his cries and weeping in the pit. And his brethren went and removed themselves from the pit so that they might not hear the cries of Joseph and his weeping in the pit. So it was getting to them, but they were like, nah, we ain't going to help him. So now we're in the 42nd chapter. And they went and sat on the opposite side about the distance of a bow shot. And they sat there to eat bread. And whilst they were eating, they held counsel together what was to be done with him, whether to slay him or to bring him back to his father. So they were sitting there eating while this poor kid is starving, and he pleaded with them. So they went away so they couldn't hear him sobbing and crying. And they're deciding, okay, what are we going to do? Are we going to really kill him, or are we going to let him go back to our father? So they were holding the council when they lifted up their eyes and saw, and behold, there was a company of Ishmaelites coming at a distance by the road of Gilead, going down to Egypt. Now, Ishmael, remember, he was Abraham's son through Hagar, right? Because at first Sarah couldn't have kids, so she gave her servant Hagar to Abraham so that he could have a child, which was Ishmael. But the Lord said, that's not my chosen. Isaac is the chosen child, right? So Ishmael is also of the bloodline of Abraham, but he's not of the bloodline of Jacob. This is where you have the white Jews that are confused that there's no way they could be of Judah, because Judah is of Jacob, not, Abraham. They may be from the line of Abraham, the Abrahamic, from Abraham himself, but they're not Israelites, because the Israelites are from the line of Jacob. So you have Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And Abraham is the originator of the Hebrew people. And then you have Isaac, and then you have Jacob. But through Jacob, the Lord, formed the group of the Israelites, the 12 tribes. So the white Jews, as they call themselves, are not a part of Jacob at all. So I'm not sure why they're calling themselves even really Jews. They would be maybe Abrahamic people, but Jews is of Judah, because that tribe of Judah, we became that when the kingdom split. You had the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom. The northern kingdom was Israel. Those were the 10 tribes. And then the southern kingdom was Judah and Levi, and sometimes Benjamin would be a part of it, but you had Judah and Levi. So that would be that would be called the kingdom of Judah, Judah and Levi. Judah and Levi always pretty much worked together. One basically was the priest, and the other was the lawgivers, right? But they interchange in between the two. So when Christ returns, it won't, those who will rule and reign as priests won't just be from the tribe of Judah. They'll be from other tribes that Christ will choose to be, Israelite priests. All right. So that's where the confusion comes in, is to Israelites were always black people. They were always people of color. Abraham was a Chaldean. Chaldeans were black people. So how you get the white nation of people is basically Esau, who is Jacob's twin. He started off under the Hebrew culture, but then he dismissed himself and went into the other nations of people and became the European nation of people, but he didn't start off that way. So that's how they would be connected to, any Hebrews. But remember, Esau wasn't chosen, Jacob was. That's where you have Esau and Jacob. That's the struggle that's even going on today in the earth with Esau and Jacob, is one is chosen and one is not. All right. So you have here, they were holding counsel when they lift up their eyes and saw, and behold, the company of Ishmaelites coming at a distance by the road of Gilead, going down to Egypt. And Judah said unto them, what gain will it be to us if we slay our brother? The other thing I want to tell you about the Ishmaelites is that, remember, Ishmael, he knew the Hebrew way, but he chose to serve the Egyptian gods. So that's the division today of the Ishmaelites, the more Arab culture of people. They chose to serve the idol gods. Ishmael didn't choose to stay with the God of the Hebrews. So that's where we don't agree there, is that they have a whole different religion than we do. The Muslims and all of that kind of stuff, they have a whole different religion than what we do. All right. So Judah said to them, what gain will it be to us if we slay our brother? Peradventure God will require him from us. This then is the counsel proposed concerning him, which you shall do unto him. Behold, this company of Ishmaelites going down to Egypt. Now therefore come, let us dispose of him to them, and let not our hand be upon him. So they think they're being slick with God by letting the Ishmaelites take Joseph, right? And let not our hand be upon him, and they will lead him along with them, and he will be lost amongst the people of the land, and we will not put him to death with our own hands. And the proposal pleased his brethren, and they did according to the word of Judah. So Judah said, let the Ishmaelites handle him, and this way we won't be accountable for it. And whilst they were discoursing about this matter, and before the company of the Ishmaelites had come up to them, 7 trading men of Midian passed by them, and as they passed by, they were thirsty. They lifted up their eyes and saw the pit in which Joseph was, in which he was in, and they looked, and behold, every species of bird was upon him. Wow. And these Midianites ran to the pit to drink water, for they thought that it contained water. And on coming before the pit, they heard the voice of Joseph crying and weeping in the pit. And they looked down to the pit, and they saw, and behold, there was a youth of comely appearance. So Joseph was a good-looking kid, a good-looking boy, of comely appearance and well-favored. And they called unto him and said, Who art thou, and who brought thee hither, and who placed thee in this pit in the wilderness? And they all assisted to raise up Joseph, and they drew him out and brought him up from the pit and took him and went away on their journey and passed by his brethren. So they passed by the brethren with Joseph. And he's probably, like, what are y'all doing? Right? And these said unto them, Why do you do this, to take our servant from us and to go away? Surely we placed this youth in the pit because he rebelled against us. So his brothers are lying to these people, talking about that Joseph had rebelled against them, right? And you come and bring him up and lead him away. Now then give us back our servant. So they're staging this thing to look good. And the Midianites answered and said unto the sons of Jacob, Is this your servant, or does this man attend you? Peradventure you are all his servants, for he is more comely and well-favored than any of you. And why do you all speak falsely unto us? So they know something is up. Like, why are these people getting rid of this little kid? Now, therefore, we will not listen to your words nor attend to you, for we found the youth in the pit in the wilderness, and we took him. We will therefore go on, which was what they were counting on. All right. So we're going to wrap this up and continue this for next week. This is going to be the situation of Joseph in the pit. Y'all got to read this. Go get the book. Go to the book of Jasher. You could download it and read it on your own time. Anyway, thank you all for joining into the Crystal Jones Show. Once again, it's the show that's all about life's balance. You can see us every Saturday from 7 to 8 p.m. on bronxnet.org, channel 951 2137 on the Inspired channel. Also, check me out on YouTube and and Facebook, the Crystal Jones TV show. Like, share, and subscribe to my channel, the YouTube channel, so we can grow it. Okay. Also check me out on Instagram with the Bible quote, and also HebrewConnect.tv. Thank you all for joining in. Kwam Yasharala Rise. It's time to tell our people the truth about who we are. All right. God bless you. God keep you is my prayer. And as always, you stay what? Balanced.
A lot of people say when you're going somewhere, you don't want to look back. But I beg to differ. For her to see her father celebrate his graduation, it's the best feeling in the world. I can't lie and say it was easy. But sometimes you just have to stop everything and take it in. I looked at everything in a different light. I realized it started with me going back and getting my high school diploma.
In church intimidation, control and manipulation, Jezebel and all them spirits, fall back, not trying to hear it. Go with Jesus, walk in peace. On your pew can sit that beast that we're fighting in the world. I'm that JC Supergirl, Jesus Christ, belt of truth, arm of God, I'm slaying you. Power of the word, two-edged sword, MC Heaven rocks for her Lord. Thought they crept in unaware, didn't see the gatekeeper standing right there, not getting down with your tactics, undoctrinal practice.